Hello and welcome back to Talking Giants. Today is February 24, 2026, and we are going to talk about every single Giants impending free agent, from Wan'dale Robinson to Jermaine Eluemunor to Cor'Dale Flott, all the way down to Neville Hewitt. Bet you knew that he was on the team.
Yeah, key special teamer, Justin. Who didn't forget that?
You know what? Good for you.
Come on now.
Ow!
Come on now. Former Jet great.
Snaps. Yeah, for over 300 snaps on special teams. Neville Hewitt, 8 tackles on special teams, only 1 missed tackle. There you go. Shaun, you are snowed in the WFAN studio. You have no way to get home. You're deserted. People have to come bring you food, right?
Basically, yeah. That's what's going on here. Yeah, I'm on day 2 of being in Manhattan to try to avoid the snow apocalypse. And yeah, still no trains running. So at least Talking Giants is there for me, Justin, because without Talking Giants today, I don't know what the hell I'd be doing post-show.
You would be going to your friend Craig Carton, who you guys have so much in common. You guys love each other, and you would be on the show. I know that that's the first thing that he would love to do, invite you on. Yeah, I actually had some good times. I drank with Craig Carton last night. It was good. Oh, wow. How about that? Wow. Look at that. Good time. Shaun, I loved our offensive and defensive report card episodes. So we talked a lot of information about these guys' overall 25 seasons, and we gave them a grade. But now it's time to talk about the guys that are going to be impending free agents, and especially the majority of this episode is going to be based around the big three, that being Wan'dale Robinson, that being Jermaine Eluemunor, that being Cor'Dale Flott, wide receiver, right tackle, and cornerback. What are the Giants going to do? What do you guys think? I ran a poll on 3 different socials platforms about, would you pay these players this? Would you pay these players that? Yes or no? So we're going to talk all about it and break it all down. I'm excited about this. You want to start off with Wan'dale Robinson? Yeah, let's start off with Wan'dale Robinson. And as we get into all 3, Justin, before we break them down all on a one-by-one basis, because I'm sure we're going to discuss the levels of which we want each guy back and the cost and everything that gets into it. As far as these guys being the big 3, as no other way to term this, overall, and you don't have to reveal any spoilers, are you going to be massively upset if all 3 guys are not or like any of the 3 are not Giants next year? Yeah. If all 3 of them are gone? Yes. So you want to? Yeah, I'm going to be pretty. I'll be pretty upset, because especially considering that there's so many other areas that you feel like the team needs to address this offseason. If all 3 of them find a way to exit out, I'll be like, come on, man. Okay. All right. I was just curious where you stood in this. And I will just tell you, and I guess we'll get into this with each player. There's a scenario where I'm okay if all 3 players have walked. And I think I've settled on that the more that free agency is gone. But I just wanted to set the table with that before we kind of break it all down. Yeah. And obviously it does depend too. Maybe we'll talk about this a little next week. So this Monday is going to be impending free agency. The following Monday, Shaun and I are going to give like a free agency preview. And I think within that free agency preview, Shaun, maybe we'll do some quick on, like, I think the Giants should cut Bobby Okereke. They should cut Graham Gano, and they can create cap space this way. Do we think, there's some restructures that they could do to Brian Burns? Are they going to extend Dexter Lawrence and make him happy and give him more money? How is that story going to... Is that story going to continue, and get any answers on that at this point in the offseason? So we could talk about that next week. We have to see how much money they can create this year, how they can structure contracts and things like that. But yeah, man, like, again, I want to reemphasize, I think there's a lot of things that the Giants have to do for, John Harbaugh. If he doesn't win 9-10 games this year and make the postseason, like, he's going to be disappointed. I saw Connor Hughes say that. Like, if they're going to get to that point, this roster still does need to get better. Major work. So it's not just coaching that I think will snap your fingers and then turn this 3-4 win football team into a 9-10 team. 9-10 win. Yeah. So. I mean, you can win tight margins, but still the talent would help it do that. Yeah. Not like it's a fluky year like 2022. Right. All right, let's start off with Wan'dale Robinson, who is 25 years old. He's going to be 25 by the time the season starts. He is coming off a season where he had 92 catches, 140 targets, 1,014 receiving yards. Got that yards per reception up to 11. That was the highest of his career, and the only season with the double-digit yards per reception mark so far. He also had a career-high 4 touchdowns in one season. Everything Wan'dale Robinson had was a career high, except receptions, where in 2024 he had 93. This year it was only 1 shy of that. He was 9th in the NFL in catches this year, 14th in yards. And he did that all in 16 games. Remember, he didn't play that 17th game because they shut him down for the final game of the year. How about the last 2 years? He is 7th in catches and 26th in yards. Shaun, very compelling player when it comes to what is his market going to be. How are the Giants going to present their side and their case on what his market is? And like, if you look at those numbers over the last 2 years, 7th in catches, 26 in yards, and you see some of the other guys that are getting paid 17, 18, 19, $20 million. Wan'dale Robinson has been around there the last 2 years. Before we get to that conversation on what his average annual value will be, I want to throw this to you. I feel like this is a necessary question. It's also kind of a sports radio-ish question to ask, but I feel like it's necessary. Do you feel like Joe Schoen is going to feel any past pressure about not keeping good players in the building when it comes to either the big three? But I think Wan'dale Robinson is the leading charge of that, being the day 2 draft pick, the first day 2 draft pick of this era and of this regime.
I love this question because I think the question gets answered with another question.
Okay.
Which is simply this. Does it fucking matter?
With Harbaugh, right?
Yeah. Look, and I'm not trying to undermine, but we can't in one breath, when we do our shows, talk about the neutered approach of Joe Schoen, where he's going to handle scouting, and with Dawn Aponte and John Harbaugh. I get, not that Joe Schoen is not going to be clearly on the phone as the general manager, having conversations, contract, all of that. But this is what I find so complicated about all these guys we're going to talk about, is that they're Joe Schoen guys, Brian Daboll guys, but Joe Schoen is here, but is he the one making the decision? Like, for all we know, John Harbaugh could look at Wan'dale Robinson and say, this is a football player I want, or this is a guy we can move on from. And none of what Joe Schoen thought, or none of Joe Schoen's approach in past years matters, because we're not approaching this free agency from the same realm of what this GM is doing. Right. So look, I think he already felt it last year with Darius Slayton. I think when we were all stunned that Darius Slayton came back, I think you could point to that and go, that might be Joe Schoen trying to show the guys in the locker room, we do want to take care of our own. We don't want egg on our face getting rid of players. And that sort of backfired. So, yes, on longer. If this was just strictly on Joe Schoen, I do think that he doesn't want to watch good players that he drafts go out the door, because it makes him look better knowing that he drafted guys that are re-signing second contracts. But I'm just not sure that that's really on his palate anymore, plate anymore.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I'll even disagree. I don't think Joe Schoen would operate like that, like out of spite, right? And also, what makes it a little different is when Joe Schoen gets criticized for letting some players, letting some good players go, a la Saquon Barkley, a la Xavier McKinney, Julian Love. You could throw Leonard Williams in there, even though Leonard Williams helped us land Brian Burns, right? What's different about those guys is I do think maybe Julian Love could be a push, but I do think Xavier McKinney, Saquon Barkley, Leonard, those players are better players than Wan'dale Robinson. Good call. And I think Wan'dale Robinson, I still think, even though as more time has gone on and as more time is removed from the season, I think that what he's done, specifically what he did in 2025, was really good. And it wasn't just 2024 volume stuff. I still overall do feel like his role could be replaceable. But now, instead of in the middle of the year where I was like, I really feel like it could be replaceable, now I'm a little bit more hesitant on that. But again, in terms of Joe Schoen, I feel like what he's done as general manager is not make decisions and not make certain calls when it comes to free agency, when it comes to trades or some aggressive moves, or even with the draft, in 2024, when everybody and their mother wanted them to draft a quarterback and then they didn't. I do not think that this is a guy in a regime and a place, even with Harbaugh involved, that they're going to make moves based on the pressure of public perception.
Yeah, and I hope that they wouldn't do that. They just have to farm their own land, and that's the way good teams operate. They don't worry about outside noise. So I'm with you. And I think you bring up a great point. Wan'dale Robinson is also not those same players. So you can't look at it from the spectrum. I just also to touch on what you just said, I don't think I've ever agreed with you on an opinion more than the idea of, I was with you in terms of, man, Wan'dale Robinson, short slot receiver, okay, he kind of showed that he could go down the field and stretch the field a little bit this year. But is that the kind of player that you sign long-term? Isn't that the kind of player that's replaceable? And as the years gone on, and now that even the weeks of the offseason's gone by, I think you hit on it. I'm not so sure anymore either. I'm not. And maybe this makes him the most complicated Giants free agent we've had in the last couple of years.
And why in the season? So I just started to think back, okay, but why were you saying that in the season, Justin? Why were you saying that?
Yeah.
And here's why. And somebody left this comment. A couple people left these comments in the replies too of the poll. He would have these two big games to start the year. 6 for 55, okay, and then he would have the 8 for 142 against Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next 3 weeks, 1 catch for 26 yards, 3 catches for 14, 5 catches for 30. Okay, then he has, a couple weeks of consistency, 6 for 84, 6 for 95. Okay, 3 for 48 in the loss to Philly, 9 for 46, which is 5.1 yards per reception, which is nothing against the 49ers, 6 for 62 against Chicago, but then disappears against Green Bay, 4 for 36. Big game against the Lions, 9 for 156, but then responds back with a 7 for... It's just very wishy-washy is the point. There would be
and his 2 biggest games of the year were not Jackson Dart games either.
Right. There would be games where you feel like, all right, this is a Wan'dale Robinson game, and you can tell it right from the start. You can tell it right from the beginning. And then there are certain games where he would just disappear. And that gets a little concerning when you're talking about a guy that, now let's get into this, when you're talking about a guy that's going to be getting at least 15 million, at least 16 million, if not creeping closer to 20, that does get me a little concerned that he would just have these games where he would just totally disappear.
Yeah. And that's the thing, if you don't want to pay a guy 16, 17, 18 million per, 19 million per, it also doesn't mean you think they stink or they're not a worthy player that won't be missed, but you just, in the NFL, as long as the salary cap operates, you do have to question production in those disappearing acts. Like, you want to pay guys that you think are about to become this epitome of consistency. And I don't know that. And I look back too, and I think about like outrageous wide receiver contracts, Justin, throughout the NFL. And like the one that always jumps out to me is when Christian Kirk signed with Jacksonville. And you were kind of like, you saw him come from Arizona. Everybody kind of, their jaw hit the floor going, man, Christian Kirk's getting that. And doesn't this kind of feel like Wan'dale Robinson is about to get some kind of Christian Kirk deal relative to this offseason? And what is the rest of the NFL going to think when Wan'dale Robinson signs that money? And should the Giants, just because they drafted and developed him, be on the hook for that? Where they're getting a good player, yes, but at that value, I don't know.
At that point, when the NFL was signing Christian Kirk and guys like that to big contracts, I think the NFL, like there was just such a desire at that time for wide receiver and explosive plays and things like that. And now I think after that big boom and seeing how that's worked out for some of those teams, like you even saw this, like we were wondering with Darius Slayton's market, when he became a free agent, like the first time around, and we were like, he didn't get anything. I think the NFL finally got to the point where it's like, all right, we're going to stop super overpaying for wide receivers. Right. And I think it depends on the offseason. George Pickens already franchise tagged by the Dallas Cowboys. So he's off the radar and off the board. Yes. But there is Alec Pierce, who's going to be getting over 20 million a year, even though he catches 45, 50 balls a year, but it's 20 yards a pop. So again, the need for explosive plays. There is Mike Evans out there. There is Deebo Samuel.
I was going to say, Fat Deebo.
It's going to be out there. Jawan Jennings is probably going to get 20 million, if not close to that. Rashid Shaheed's market is going to be fascinating, but he's a very explosive player, but considering his injury history.
The guy I'm interested in is Calvin Austin from Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Because it's a smaller bodied guy that can stretch the field a little bit, but play a lot of slot.
Yeah.
I think that's the guy. Yeah.
There is a good amount of wide receivers that are free agents that could help each other out by like just increasing like everybody's value, like rising tides raise all ships, right? Just because all these teams are going to want wide receivers. So if there's a bidding war that turns into some of them, that could help others get more money.
Romeo Doubs too. Yes.
Right. Romeo Doubs was that next guy that I was going to say that's out there, but none of them are these smaller slot wide receivers though. That's the thing that's what makes Wan'dale Robinson super unique. Now, Khalil Shakir got $13.5 million by the Buffalo Bills. And that was a contract that was signed a year or two ago. Over the last 2 years, Khalil Shakir has 148 receptions to Wan'Dale's 185. Wan'Dale's played in 2 more games. Khalil Shakir, 1,540 receiving yards. Wan'Dale Robinson, 1,713. And the yards per reception is about a yard more for Khalil Shakir than Wan'Dale. Khalil Shakir has also 1 more touchdown to Wan'Dale's 7. So 8 for Shakir, 7 for Wan'Dale. So yards and receptions for Wan'Dale. Wan'Dale will also probably look at, and his team will look at, look at the quarterback situation that we had in 2024 as well. And just the overall offensive and team situation at times, way more in flux compared to the Buffalo Bills. And also Wan'Dale Robinson could sit there and say, I was competing for targets and yards with Malik Nabers in 2024. And Khalil Shakir, who's he competing with targets and yards for over the last 2 years in Buffalo? So 13.5, Shaun, is the starting point for Wan'Dale. I don't even think it is a starting point. 13. There is no way that Wan'Dale Robinson is getting 13.5 or 14 million. I think it is going to be higher, and it's because Khalil Shakir, the most comparable player in my opinion, slot-only smaller player.
Better.
Right. You're saying Shakir's better or Wan'Dale's better?
I'd rather have Shakir. I think he does more for me.
Okay. But I think that's kind of where this negotiation starts.
Yeah, I know. And this is where it's going to be tough. And obviously, look, it's a rising salary cap too. So it's understandable.
Yes.
Like if he goes higher than 13.5, it's all relative, right? Like Shakir got that where, who knows, 40 million less than the salary cap because this thing keeps freaking exploding. So I guess you have to live with that. But then you start asking the question, like free agency for a year is also about long-term planning. You're another 1.5, 2 years away from paying Malik Nabers on this Wan'Dale deal while you're doing this. And Slayton's making a lot of money. Like, how much money can you pour in per position group? And do you allow a pass mistake to make you another mistake? Like, I don't know, man. I'm going to struggle with this value. This is all these years of doing Giants free agency and having no problem with dollars being thrown out. I can't wrap my head around the idea that Wan'Dale Robinson is going to get like $18 million a year. And I can't help but think I really like Wan'Dale Robinson, but what the hell are we doing? Like this is what I keep landing on.
So I put out a poll, and the number that I wound up choosing this morning, and in retrospect, I regret choosing this, is 19 million per year. Here is my logic behind choosing 19. I was putting myself more or less in the seat of Wan'Dale Robinson's agents of what do we think that they could ask for.
Okay.
Shakir, again, getting 13.5. Wan'Dale's numbers are better over the last 2 years. Some of the more advanced numbers probably go a little bit to Khalil Shakir's side. The Khalil Shakir is one of the best yards after the catch slot guys in the NFL, and Wan'Dale's just okay at that. But I don't know if they're going over that stuff. Cooper Kupp, another slot receiver, is getting 15 million per year. And at this point, this is the corpse of Cooper Kupp.
Jeez.
You are like, I don't know, Wan'Dale Robinson and his agents, like, Giants will offer you 15. You're giving me the same amount of what Cooper Kupp did for the Seahawks this year? They'd be like, no way. Jerry Jeudy gets 17.5. Now, this is where I think you get comparable-ish players and production over the last 2 years. Jacoby Myers gets 20. Chris Godwin gets 22.
Crazy. But a slot receiver is not this. Like, I get it. Godwin does play a lot. It's just when your height, yards you have to catch, like, it's not, you're not a $20 million a year player. I'm sorry. Wan'Dale Robinson's not a $20 million a year player. I don't care what the yardage says this year.
So out of 1,500 responses, would you give Wan'Dale Robinson $19 million per year? 75% said no, and 25% said yes. And a lot of the sentiment was, but love to have him back, but that's a little too much. Not worth it. A lot of reasons you just said, Shaun. Instagram. 53% said yes.
You got a lot of Wan'Dale groupies on Instagram.
47% said no. And YouTube, you can do YouTube polls now. We do a lot of fun. I try and do a lot of fun stuff on the YouTube community poll and the community tab. Got a couple hundred responses there, and 74% said no, and 26% said yes. So YouTube and Twitter, pretty much in line. But then those, at the time that I'm recording this, 1,500 people on Instagram, 53% would give Wan'Dale Robinson 19 million per year. I wish I would have said 17 million or 17.5, because that is where I do think that wherever Wan'Dale goes, unless the market just clearly isn't there for him, and the NFL looks at him as this small, limited slot wide receiver, and they all collectively just say, we are not giving you $17.5, $20 million. Like, Jacoby Myers is an outside guy. Jerry Jeudy's an outside guy. But they'll give him maybe a little bit more than Cooper Kupp at 15. I think it's going to land somewhere between there. A little bit more than Cooper Kupp, but less than Jacoby Myers, maybe around what Jerry Jeudy gets.
Yeah, I'm on the no. I'm officially voting no.
Even with that, you're no.
Even with that, because I just keep thinking, Justin, is this a better way to approach this? Even with his production, and even with the fact that you'd be okay losing it, even if the Giants spend that kind of money on Wan'Dale Robinson, aren't we still saying the Giants have a number 2 wide receiver problem that needs to be addressed this offseason?
Yeah.
Okay. And we've discussed whether that means first-round pick, second-round pick. Remember, the Giants don't have a third-round pick as of now. Obviously, they can move some pieces around or whatnot. Who knows if they go and they want to spend money on like a Romeo Dobbs. Like, we'll touch on all that next week. Like, if the answer to my question in terms of Giants needs is I still need an outside number 2 wide receiver that I'm going to have to allocate resources in, how the hell can I justify paying him that money? How can I justify paying Wan'Dale Robinson that money?
What is your make or break number?
Again, it's relative and the way you can kick everything down the road. I understand this is more minutia. Man, you said Jeudy 17 and 18, I guess.
Yeah, I think around 17 to 18 is my make or break number. I want Wan'Dale back.
You want to tell me it's like 3 for 36? Okay.
3 for 36 is 12.
Oh, it's 12. What's 18 times 3? I'm screwing this up. 60. I'm way off. 54. 3 for 54? Yeah,
that maybe.
Why did I say this? Yeah.
Because then, you can even convince them, hey, 3 years, a 3-year contract in the NFL, odds are that's just it's a 2-year deal, right? Maybe.
And I guess they could heavy load it in year 2 where they have $100 million cap space.
Right. So then you can hit free agency again when you're either 27 or 28 years old, which I think he would take that instead of 29 or 30,
Yeah, if they offered him that, I guess I'm okay with it. But again, if you once we start talking 20s, I think I have to tap out.
I don't think he's getting 20. I think his team and his agency will push for 19. Yeah. But I think they're going to land somewhere between more than Cooper Kupp, around Jerry Jeudy, and obviously, like I said, Jacoby Myers gets 20, so it's going to be less than that. So, will he be back?
I say yes.
I say yes too. I think they find that middle ground.
I say yes. Yeah, I do. And I don't want to give away anything of what we're talking about with the other big 3, but I'll say yes to Wan'Dale.
I'll say yes to Wan'Dale as well. I use Anthony Miller as the justification of like, what is his role in like this Harbaugh type of offense? Obviously there's Zay Flowers too. I think Zay Flowers is a little bit more versatile maybe, but Anthony Miller, and how not a slam dunk player by any means, but his years there in Chicago as being like this slot only player, Matt Nagy really did like him, used him a lot in the slot, pre-snap motion, things like that. That is a Wan'Dale Robinson lane. And I think he's better than Anthony Miller, who's no longer in the league.
Yes.
All right. Next. But first, I want to talk about Warby Parker, because today's episode is sponsored by Warby Parker. They came to me recently, and I got to tell you what, I can't wait for my glasses to get here. Warby Parker, they are a glasses provider, and there's certain partners that we've worked with that have provided eyewear in the past, but I'll tell you what, they don't provide prescription glasses. And I am blind. I cannot see. I'm blind. I'm deaf. I want to be a ref. So when Warby Parker came to me and was like, we can give you glasses, we can give you sunglasses, and I need a new pair of sunglasses. And they said, all you got to do is just put your prescription in there and you're golden. I got a really nice pair of sunglasses. When I'm going to NASCAR races this summer, Memorial Day weekend, when I'm going to Dover, when I'm going to Charlotte, Warby Parker is going to be basically making that trip a good one, because I'm going to get a new pair of sunglasses. And nothing compares to Warby Parker when you're talking about quality, price, selection, and customer service. No more outdated styles or massive price tags. But Warby Parker doesn't just offer prescription glasses. They can help with contacts, online eye exams, and sunglasses. They have over 300 retail stores across the U.S. so you can get all your eye needs covered all in one place. Warby Parker gives you quality and better looking prescription eyewear at a fraction of the going price. Our listeners get 15% off plus free shipping when they buy 2 or more pairs at warbyparker.com/giants. That's 15% off when you buy 2 pairs of glasses at warbyparker.com/giants. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show. Tell them that we sent you. Thank you, Warby Parker.
Bang.
All right, Jermaine Eluemunor. Mm-hmm. He's 31 years old, and he's going to be 32 in November. Playing consistently at right tackle now, which he could not say for the majority of his career. In 2025, he was 6th in pass blocking efficiency among all tackles, 4.6, 3 hits, and 12 hurries allowed. He was tied for the second lowest in pressure rate allowed among right tackles in 2025. I will say the penalties are an issue, though. 14 penalties. That was tied for the most among tackles in the league. He also was penalized 10 times in 2024 as well. Shaun, poll results, I asked $13 million per year. $12 million would be double what he's getting right now at $6 million per year. So I asked $13 million per year. And here are some of the other tackles, the right tackles specifically on Spot Rack that are getting around that mark. Austin Jackson, who I think Jermaine Eluemunor is better than Austin Jackson. Caleb McGarry, Abraham Lucas is getting 15.3. Caleb McGarry is also getting 15 million. Now, Caleb McGarry is 31 years old. So Terrence Steele gets 16.5. So I do think this number of 15, it may be a little low, but I think this is what he's going to get. 13 million per year. Twitter, 92% of Twitter said yes. 8% said no. Instagram, 89% yes, 11% no. YouTube, same results, 89 yes, 11% no. Shaun, $13 million per year for Jermaine Eluemunor. I almost feel like the money isn't even the issue here.
Yeah.
I almost think it's just do the Giants value Jermaine Eluemunor, which is a crazy thing to kind of ask.
Yeah. So first of all, what I would do, $13 million a year is not scaring me off from Jermaine Eluemunor. And maybe part of that is, unlike John Harbaugh, and even to a lesser extent, Joe Schoen, I've lived through too much bad Giants offensive line play to now have a guy in the building and then go, you know what? It's too rich for my blood. And I still think 13 mil went in relative when just thinking about tackle play in the NFL is really settled in. It's fine to make $13 million a year as a right tackle and not be an all-pro or a pro bowler, but Jermaine Eluemunor, despite some of those games with the penalties and some of those moments, Justin, like he's just a solid double off the wall kind of right tackle. And somebody that isn't scared off by the disease of losing, as we could tell when he tweets and everything else off too, which I think matters. So yeah, will the Giants value him? Well, there's like a million questions that go into that. Does Joe Schoen want to prove that Marcus Bowe is ready to be a right tackle in year 2? That's part of it. I hope they don't feel that way because, swing tackle and the idea that Andrew Thomas never stays healthy. And also, John Harbaugh had Jermaine Eluemunor with the Baltimore Ravens and cut Jermaine Eluemunor. So what the hell is John Harbaugh's feelings on the guy?
Yeah, I would have to think that he is a very, very different player now.
He is.
I mean, you're talking about a guy that fringe player, whatever, to now he's fully gotten opportunities in the last 2 years. Like you're talking about a top 10 in overall like efficiency. You're talking about a top 10 tackle as a pass blocker. And I don't think he's bad. I just don't think he's very good as a run blocker. Doesn't mean that he's bad. And he's come on this show and he's admitted, he's like, I am never going to be this kick-ass run blocking right tackle. I'm never going to be this kick-ass blocking offensive lineman. But he does take pride on his craft as a pass blocker. And I think that shows. That finally shows. This year was the first full offseason plus summer, spring plus summer, that he was locked in at right tackle. And there was no doubt and no question of it. Do you remember even 2024? Remember what position he was playing in the spring and who was starting at right tackle?
It was guard and it was Evan Neal at tackle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So, I mean, even though Eluemunor stayed at right tackle for the majority of the year, then even slid over to the left side in 2024 when Andrew Thomas goes down, this was the first year that he fully got to settle down at one spot, and it paid dividends, and it showed. And I think he can continue. Maybe he doesn't get better from what he did in 2025, but I certainly don't think, unless injury starts to get bad injury luck, I don't think it's going to get worse. It shouldn't get worse.
Yeah, and you can just simplify it. we're doing multiple podcasts here, multiple shows on the free agency market and where the Giants have to go. And you mentioned with Wan'Dale, the other holes the Giants are going to have. For once, the last 2 years, outside of Andrew Thomas's health, it feels like the tackle position on the New York Giants is not a need at all. So why am I looking to rock the boat over there? Over an extra $2 million or whatnot? And if you tell me you're dumping Jermaine Eluemunor, like I mentioned the Marcus Bowe plan, what is your plan in allocating resources there? Because you allocated guaranteed money to James Hudson to be your swing tackle already, and that was a disaster. So at a minimum, you need a swing tackle if you're going with Bowe, or at best, you need another right tackle. And who's giving you the production at any better value than Jermaine Eluemunor would for $13 million a year? I don't see it.
I mean, what, Rasheed Walker from the Packers, who has his, I think he's a pretty good pass blocker, but Rasheed Walker from the Packers, who has his kind of weaknesses at but he's like going to be the top tackle. So he's going to get a lot of money. I would rather just pay Jermaine Eluemunor for 3 years. It could be a 2-year. It could actually be a 2-year contract. And even if it gets up to 14, 15, I think that's worth it for solid, capable, non-disastrous right tackle play. I think it is.
It's a proven commodity.
Yes.
It's what you're getting. You're not going to be surprised in a bad way. Borderline may be surprised in a good way by having Jermaine Eluemunor here. It's like buying a pack of Oreos, Justin. You know exactly what they taste like. They're always good. And I'm willing to do that. Pay for what you know.
And I think bringing him back, it allows you to make investments in the offensive line that won't need to pay off right away.
Yeah, you can continue to develop. You're right. That's the exact signing where development of younger guys does not get hindered at all.
Marcus Bowe, you could talk about, we can experiment with him on the inside and experiment with him at guard, right? Mm-hmm. You can draft somebody else on day 2. They only have one day 2 pick as of now. But you could draft somebody else on a day 2, on a day 3, like a Demetrius Crownover from Texas A&M is like the Senior Bowl tackle that is just so traits-based and so damn strong, but so like horrible everywhere else, that's a guy that I would love to take a chance on and just let him develop and let him sit and figure out what you have in him that you could take day 3 in the draft. Yeah. So picks like that, instead of, all right, let's Shane Lemieux this guy and throw him in there in the 2020 season because we have nobody else. Like, do not do that to yourself. How many times over the last decade plus have the Giants had to do that, where they take these guys, forget even round 1, where they take these guys day 2 and day 3 and they have to start them because they have no other good answer. Don't do that to yourself.
I agree. Do not do it at all. Let guys, I think that's your best point about the Eluemunor thing. Let guys develop. And also, I know he settled in at right tackle and he'll sign right tackle money. But to that point, Justin, Jermaine Eluemunor, I'm still paying him because deep down, even if he doesn't want to hear it, he is versatile. And if something goes awry on the interior of the offensive line and you need to swing him inside at guard, and then you have to play a Marcus Bowe as your swing tackle and try to find a way to get your 6th best offensive lineman out there, I'm leaning on his versatility, even if he didn't need it last year.
Yeah. And I do think that his age, he's going to be 32 in November. I do think his age, the fact that he's not signing a deal at 30 or 29, 28,
it helps the Giants with the value.
Do you think that will help the Giants? So get it done. Yeah. But I am worried that they don't value him enough, number one. Mm-hmm. And then also their self-evaluation on the inside, which we know isn't that great. Worried that they just, Marcus Bowe can be ready to start next year. I do not want that to be the approach.
Even if Marcus Bowe is ready to start next year, you're then making an enormous leap of faith to think Andrew Thomas is totally going to play all these games at left tackle.
Right. So what
the Giants, as long as Andrew Thomas is on this team, the Giants need to operate with 3 functional tackles on the roster. Sorry.
I will say my make or break number is 16, 17.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'd probably make it about the same. Yeah, 13 entices me. You could get me to 14, 5, 15. I start to cringe a little bit, but I'm way more lenient in doing this with tackle play than I am slot wide receiver play. Not to bring in Wan'Dale.
I mean, especially somebody that, we've talked about. Like, there's no denying the pass, which I do value pass blocking a little bit more than I value run blocking. There's no denying how effective he's been over the last 2 years.
You can hate this comp all you want. I know it makes sense, but this is a little extreme. You could get by in the NFL for a few weeks with Gunnar Olszewski's playing slot wide receiver. The Gunnar Olszewski version of a right tackle in the NFL, you cannot survive as an offense. Do you get what I'm saying? Like when comparing paying Eluemunor and Wan'dale?
They got by in 2022 with Richie James.
Yep, exactly. So it's all about the positional value for me.
Yeah. Will he be back? Shaun, I actually say no. I have this feeling, despite my rooting interest in what I want, I just have this feeling he's not going to be back.
I agree. I think they're going to do a couple things differently on the offensive line. I don't think he's back. And I think that it'll be the first time truly. Now, you thought maybe you saw some of this when Matt Nagy was hired, but I think it'll be the first time truly you get the Giant fan base kind of cringing a little bit going, what are we doing under the Harbaugh regime? I think this will be the first one when he walks free agents.
Yeah. Now, if it ends in Tyler Linderbaum.
Okay, great. But then who's playing right tackle?
Right. Marcus Bowe.
He's not the tackle. You know what I mean? Linderbaum, shores up the interior. I get it. Who's your right tackle? Okay.
Which I think I would rather try and get by, even if that means no Linderbaum. I'd rather try and get by on the interior with some older pieces and JMS and some vet stops than I think Marcus Bowe could be a disaster at right tackle. If he plays the way that he did in his rookie year, in year 2, we could see some disastrous stuff.
Yeah. Now, again, I think he's going to get better. I think he's going to hit the weight room, but I can't.
But hope and a prayer has been the approach. Has been the approach of this football team, and it doesn't matter the regime. Hope and a prayer has been the answer for a lot of things in the past. Shaun, let's just hope this guy gets better. Let's hope that he takes a step up. Let's hope that he gets stronger. You don't have to hope Jermaine Eluemunor. You don't have to hope anything.
Marcus Bowe as the third tackle will end up playing more than you think, and if he ends up pushing. It ends up being a good thing for the Giants, and I'm not going to regret that I paid Jermaine Eluemunor because Marcus Bowe took another step forward.
Yeah. All right. Cor'Dale Flott. Cor'Dale Flott turns 25 in August. Pretty sure JMS turned 25 2 years ago. Darius Alexander, I think, is turning 25.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, Brandon Weeden was a freshman in college when he was 25.
The Cor'Dale Flott turns 25 in August. And man, what a breakout year 4 he had. Only 1 interception, but he had 11 passes defensed.
The interception of the year, though.
Yes.
Let's be real.
Pick 6.
Yes.
Was it? No, it was not. He got
Yes,
tackled.
It was. He got tackled?
Yeah, he got interception touchdowns. I'm looking at it right now. It was 0.
Scadaboo must have scored right after that then.
11th in passes defense, 11 passes defense, 38th in the NFL. But the thing that really sticks out to me, some of this advanced stuff, 2nd in average target separation among all cornerbacks in the league this year. 18th in lowest coverage EPA allowed, 13th lowest completion rate allowed. He was 21st in forced completions total. 3 penalties over the last 2 years in over 800 coverage snaps. Shaun, what is this guy's value?
I think Cor'Dale Flott is going to get a nice bag thrown at him this offseason. I think his age is going to shoot and inflate the value through the roof. Teams are scared off by taking corners, I think, in the first round, second round, and expecting them to be immediate impact players. And in the classic realm of paying guys for what you think they're about to become, the irony is Cor'Dale Flott's got a lot of Paulson Adebo a year ago in him. Whereas, has he proven a lot to be a cornerback 1 in the NFL? No. But at his age and where you see his play excelling, man, like I think Cor'Dale Flott has a chance this offseason at 25 years old to become like one of the 10 to 15 highest paid cornerbacks in football.
So I asked social media, would you pay Cor'Dale Flott $12 million per year? 74% of Twitter said yes, 26% said no. Instagram, 83% said yes, 17% no. And then YouTube, 71% yes, and 29% no.
I would pay him that.
That's what I think his market could be. Now, it takes one team to just surprise it, and he got new representation. He got a new agency, and they've been known to be pretty good at getting their players some good value, right?
But I look at it. I think he went to, right?
I look at it like this. DJ Reed got $16 million per year last year. he was really good for the Jets, right? Really good for the Jets. And maybe similar argument with him, because he had Sauce Gardner opposite of him. Not a guy that's going to be a number one, but I think a really, really good number two. The comparison that I look to is Nate Hobbs, who was drafted by the Raiders. He got $12 million per year with the Packers last year, a 4-year contract for $48 million. Nate Hobbs, I believe, was a year-ish older than Cor'Dale Flott at the time that he signed his contract, like now.
Right.
And very similar interception production. Like Cor'Dale Flott only has 3 career interceptions, 1 every year for the last 3 years. So it's not like you're talking about a guy that has this insane ball production and is known as a ball hawk. Like he's not gonna, like, I don't think he has like this reputation of like a DJ Reed, for example, right? So Nate Hobbs got $12 million per year, 4-year, $48 million contract. Considering their age, considering the breakout year, that is what I can see Cor'Dale Flott getting. But what makes this difficult, Shaun, you blew my mind before we started recording. NFL.com put out a list.
As they do every year. The top 101 NFL free agents as free agency begins. I want to give which reporter, right? It was Greg Rosenthal puts it out, and it's always like a coveted list when NFL.
Well, he listens to this show from time to time.
So there you go. He has Cor'Dale Flott on this list as the 57th best free agent in football this year. 25 years old. Pretty high. Yeah. Right behind Ed Ingram and Nashawn Wright, another corner who's 27 years old.
Can you control F and look up just like CB or DB? How many other corners are in front of him?
You can control F that.
Yeah, it's just looking up the. I'm about to blow your technological brain.
Okay, so I control F this. I feel like an old man. Now I'm looking at. Now I see a little bar to type something in. Right.
Yes. So what next to Cor'Dale Flott, does it say CB or DB? What is Greg Rosenthal have listed? All right. So type in CB in that control F bar.
Okay.
And then you'll see how many times the word CB is up on this article.
I see 1/11.
Okay. So who is the first name that is next to CB out of 1 out of 11?
The first name?
Yeah, like.
Okay.
Who is the cornerback that is listed?
Oh, I see. Oh, it jumped up to 17. Jamel Dean.
Jamel Dean is the number 1 corner?
I guess that's the first one it went up to. 17. So then holy crap, how do you do this? You just taught me something.
Control it. You can search for any word, letter, phrase.
I feel like my father finding out of Yankee games on Amazon Prime. Where has this been my whole life?
Oh my God. I cannot believe I just helped you learn what Control F is. Are you kidding me?
I swear, Justin, I feel horrible about myself and technology. Jalen Watson's on here at 31. I'm seeing this. Now they're all highlighted.
He's a chief, right?
Yep.
That could be Taylor. The Giants target. Alontae Taylor, slot corner.
Yep. He's 27. He's 33.
Okay.
Let's go. Tariq Woolen from the Seahawks. Okay. We know him well. He went up and then went down. He's 27. I think the age is important to note. This is so cool. You keep scrolling and it stops you when you get to the corners.
So there's some corners that are in front of Cor'Dale Flott.
Yes.
Is the point.
Yes, exactly. And then you get to Cor'Dale Flott and Nashawn Wright.
Yeah. Yep. So Cor'Dale Flott was 51st?
57th. So he's the 6th corner.
So Cor'Dale Flott, according to PFF, which this is wrong, by the way, like PFF just needs to update this because this is wrong. But this just goes to show I don't know where the league will have Cor'Dale Flott at. PFF lists out 250 free agents. Cor'Dale Flott is listed as 242nd on this list. See, now that's wrong because Micah Mcfadden is listed at 238th.
Yeah, I mean, so what is PFF doing? Taking the 4-year career, their sample size, advanced metrics, all of that,
and that's the problem is that
you got to take what he did last year, emerge, and understand that he's only 25 years old.
But Cor'Dale Flott, through his first 3 years of his career, was a backup player. That's right. And even Greg Rosenthal writes in his blurb on NFL.com that Cor'Dale Flott still at like the beginning and the start of this year was a player that the Giants didn't fully want to give the starting job to. Right. Now, was that because of him or was that because of stupid Deonte Banks? It's probably because of stupid Deonte Banks, and I think we all knew that. But neither here nor there, what is the narrative and what is the story of Cor'Dale Flott And that probably league-wide will be part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Although, again, this is where I thought the Giants always kind of handled this wrong. You invested a third-round pick in Cor'Dale Flott. You want that third-round pick to mature to become a starter for your team. He does it this year, and you don't even let the fruits of the labor of that be enjoyed because the whole narrative is, well, we're still trying to shit. Even at a camp, the idea that they started this year with the, we're not going to name a starter and they're both going to alternate. Remember that we were living in that world. Why?
Because it's hope and a prayer, man. Again, they were trying to just have a hope and a prayer of maybe Deontay Banks will just get better.
So stupid. So, and also sneaky part about Flott's game and paying him too, for his light weight and size, plays the run way better than I think people understand. He is not afraid to get physical and come up and make a tackle, even while playing light.
Yeah, I will say for his size, but then still part of the conversation is for his size.
Yes.
You can't ignore that he's a feather,
Correct. But he doesn't always play like a feather, and I have to give him credit for that.
So I do think I would do 4 years, $50 million, $12 million, 4 years, 48, that Nate Hobbs contract for a player that has been a full-time starter for 1 year, but 25, and he could get better. Denard Wilson is going to ask these corners to be physical press man corners. And is that physical press man corner a 6'1", 175-pound Cor'Dale Flott? I don't know. I would like to have him back, Shaun, again, because it's just one less hole. The outside corner, one less hole. It's a position that I feel like you can still invest in. Same argument with right tackle. You can still draft corners if there's a guy that you like, if there's a guy with traits, right? So I think I would still do the $12 million-ish per year. Is he back?
I don't think he's back. I think he gets one of the most surprise big contracts in the NFL this year.
Big contracts. Okay.
I do. I think we're going to sail north of this, and I think he's going to get a number that we all collectively look at and go, wow, I probably wouldn't have done that. I can't believe he got that, but I do think the change of agency, and I'm telling you, man, looking at this list, they are going to value the fact that he's 25 years old. That's where he's going to get the payday. I just believe that in my gut. He plays a position in the NFL where, man, you need corners. Boy, do we understand that, to go out and cover. And if you're going to spend, $16 million a corner, give me the guy, whatever you're going to balloon this number up to, give me the guy that's 25 years old, that's coming off a career year that I think is only just the beginning. And I think that will play to his strength here. And I think the Giants are going to get surprised when, insert, the freaking Arizona Cardinals here, go pay him that money.
Yeah. They may also not even be, again, they may not be interested because I think that the size may scare them off. And
that may not be a Harbaugh kind of guy ultimately, or Denard Wilson guy.
Yep. So we'll see how that works out. I also think that maybe they could get by. There's a couple Kansas City Chief corners that are available out there. Mm-hmm. Our passing game coordinator is coming from the Kansas City Chiefs himself. That I think could be a little bit of a better value for the Giants there. So you always don't like having to maybe kind of skate by with your cornerback position, your cornerback group. That would be a Cor'Dale Flott leaves. Cor'Dale Flott would go from a player they felt really good from a depth and value standpoint and then turning into a starter to now it's all right, well, that player that you at least felt good as depth entering in the 2025 season, that player's now gone. So you're kind of losing both. You're kind of losing both a value and a depth player at worst. And then at best, you're also kind of losing a starter at the same time.
Yeah. Weird. Sort of the same conversation we had with Jermaine Eluemunor, who was full entrenched in the starter, but understand what we mean, what's going to happen to your depth. And then also Daniel Jeremiah in his first mock draft, I know he's put out version 2, did have the Giants in the first round taking the LSU corner. That's a top 10 value in the first round. So, I mean, who knows?
I don't know about that. Trade back.
But again, I'm with you. I'm just simply stating what's out there.
All right, we'll talk about the rest of the guys too. But I got to talk to you about SeatGeek first because today's episode is sponsored by SeatGeek. The MLB offseason is almost over; it's nearly over, which means that spring training and the World Baseball Classic are right around the corner. And not to mention the NBA, NHL, and even the World Cup. It's coming up this summer. Which is why I want to give a shout out to our sponsor of today's video, SeatGeek. 35 million downloads, over that amount. They are the #1 rated ticketing app in the world. I'm even going to NASCAR races. Like I said, I'm going to Dover. I'm going to Charlotte, and the one place that I'm getting my tickets on is SeatGeek, and they're even helping me get money off because I can use code John Boy 10 for 10% off my next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code JohnBoy10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek. All right. Be quicker with some of these guys, Shaun. Greg Van Roten, he turns 36 in 2 days, actually. Happy birthday to Greg Van Roten. He was 13th in pass blocking efficiency, 3 sacks, 1 hit, 22 hurries. He's been an Iron Man for the Giants the last 2 years, has not missed a single snap. He was 10th in pressure rate allowed among right guards this year. He re-signed last year on March 12th, a 1-year, $3.75 million deal. I mean, a 1 year, do you think he would do like a 1 year, $4 million deal? Even if Greg Van Roten is coming back as depth, and if he agrees to come back as a depth player, because if the Giants are going to try and upgrade the interior guard spot, I am making that move as long as he is okay coming back as possibly a depth player, and we're not promising him anything. I would love to have Greg Van Roten back.
I think this is a yes and yes for me. First of all, obviously, I would love for him to come back. Number two, I think he is going to come back for that role. 2 important things to note. Number one, he was absolutely there at John Harbaugh's press conference and is apparently being credited with gathering the other offensive linemen to show up at this press conference. Would you take the time and strategy? He's not a stupid man, Greg Van Roten, to do that if you really felt like you weren't going to be a part of this future with John Harbaugh. I didn't want to play for John Harbaugh. He is also a local Long Island guy that, from all accounts, I actually got the tailgate with a family member, took the same bus trip with it. He wants to be here. I think it's the end of his career, and this is home for him. So I think he knows, what is he going to do? He's going to go get $4 million instead of $3 million, somewhere to go maybe start. And that guy as a backup guard when he has been reliable and I'm all for it. I'm good on Greg Van Roten being here. Yeah. Now I do worry without Carmen Brasillo that maybe his best work between the Raiders and here came in his career under Carmen Brasillo. There's that caveat. Does he kind of revert backward? But again, if I'm signing him as a depth piece, I have no issue with that being my extra guard.
Oh my God, my camera
is freaking me out. It's a Blair Witch Project with me.
So I have a Logitech wheel and gas pedal, because I'm starting to play NASCAR games on my computer. So I'm pushing the gas pedal and move the camera. I'm with you, man. 1 year, $4 million deal. I mean, even if you want to make it dude, to reward the guy for being an Iron Man for the last 2 years, another 1 year deal. And dude, he could be the starter. I mean, depending on what they do with the interior and the resources that they allocate. I know that the right guard spot is the spot that I've been talking a lot about, just upgrading for the sake of you just want to keep getting better on the offensive line. But I'm also not totally against another 1 year option of just having Greg Van Roten out there if it means possibly upgrading the other spots, maybe even around him. So all for it.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Daniel Bellinger turns 26 in September. I was glad, by the way, unrelated / a little bit related. I was glad to see that Kyle Pitts was just franchise tagged by the Atlanta Falcons, because I am kind of done. And this is an NFL thing. I am done and kind of out on tight ends that just provide zero value blocking. I'm done. I don't want that part of my team. Unless you have a Harbaugh vision for a guy like Isaiah Likely that is just that good of a move blocker, which I don't think Kyle Pitts is. So that's why I do kind of value a guy like Daniel Bellinger.
Big time. Soft hands and blocks the hell out of people. Yeah.
But I am wondering, what is John Harbaugh, Greg Roman, Matt Nagy, what is their vision for what they want tight end to be? Because tight end could obviously is kind of a spot now between Theo Johnson, and if you just bring back Bellinger, you kind of think, oh, you're set, and you have even Fedoni waiting in the wings too. Chris Manhertz is also a free agent. But this could be a position that this regime kind of takes it and runs with it and makes in their own kind of vision, and Daniel Bellinger may not be part of that.
Yeah, that's what I can't figure out and don't know. Daniel Bellinger still has tight end 1 potential based on the fact that every time he's open, he catches a football and all the blocking. He's not going to get paid like that by another team, but it is a numbers game, right? If you're going to bring in somebody that has that Harbaugh feel to him, I don't think it'll be a Likely. And you did already invest here in Theo Johnson as your number 1 tight end. At least Bellinger, though, he could still be the Manhertz of this team. He could be that kind of blocker, but he's not blocking only. I see the value in having Daniel Bellinger here, and I can already sense this is probably going to be the one that maybe upsets me the most when he's not back, because he does fit what John Harbaugh would look for here in the kind of football players that he's been preaching.
I could see $5 to $6 million per year. Foster Moreau is getting $4 million. Will Dissly gets $4.6 million. Austin Hooper
think
gets
he's better than those guys.
Tommy Tremble gets $5.25.
Okay, there you go.
Noah Gray gets $6 million, and then Zach Ertz gets $6.25 million.
I think that the Tommy Tremble's a good comp, and I think he's a better blocker than Tremble.
I think he's
very underrated blocker, man.
Move blocker. I think they both can be moved. Yeah. Tommy Tremble, what did I say? He gets $5.25. Yeah. I say bring him back.
I'd bring him back too. I would, but I'm if they don't bring him back, I don't think it's going to be because of finances. I think it's just because they have a different vision at the position.
Correct. Which unless you can get somebody who is for backup tight ends, I don't give two shits about receiving. I don't care if you're this great receiver. Dane Bellinger just catching the football when it's thrown to him. And also he was targeted down the field this year. So it's not like he's
Theo Johnson got hurt and he had to get elevated to tight end 1. I could argue I have more trust in throwing the ball to the tight end.
But I want somebody who's going to be an advantage blocking, because I'm sorry, the 15, 20 catches a year that you get as a tight end too.
Yeah. No, you're right.
The snaps that you spend on the field as a blocker is going to provide way more value than the 15, 20 catches a year. So, and I think Bellinger does a good enough job of that. Again, unless you have a plan for bringing in somebody who is a kick-ass blocker, just bring Bellinger back.
I do wonder the value Tim Kelly's voice has in a room, and John Harbaugh talks about the roster too, since he was retained here and is going to be the tight ends coach. So that could help Bellinger's case.
All right, is he back? I say yes.
My gut just tells me no, that they just have another plan for this tight end position.
Okay.
But not a hardcore, I wouldn't be stunned if he's back. It's just where I lean.
Dane Belton, this will be his age 25 season. He's going to be 26 in December. I think he gets $3 million a year. Jason Pennock signed a 1-year, $2.2 million deal with the 49ers. He has played at least 70% of special team snaps the last 3 years, and he just, when he's on the field, he does create some turnovers. Had over 100 tackles last year, so I could see $3 million per year. This is the first guy where if he's not back, I'm like, okay, whatever. But I mean, do you value somebody that is kind of just like a turnover magnet in a way?
Yeah, like I am, and if not for blowing the game, he would have had the biggest hit in the season, that Denver hit in that spot. Yep. I think he shows up on tape, man. Like, I think a John Harbaugh is going to like a Dane Belton. I do. I think there's something about him that makes no sense. He's never going to be a star in the league. He's probably never going to be a true starter in the league, but there's something about Dane Belton that I think is magnetic. Somehow he gets on the field and just turnovers randomly happen. Yeah, I'd want him back. And I go even further. Like, there's a situation where the Giants take Caleb Downs to play safety. Okay, so what? So if Dane Belton gets signed and he's your fourth safety / can play a lot of specials, what if Tyler Nubin keeps regressing as a pro? Then he goes back to being like safety 3. I think there's a place where he's not going to break the bank with anybody, and yet like that's the kind of player you want for $3 million a year.
Yeah.
I like Dane Belton. I think he's the most underrated Joe Shane draft pick probably that he's had.
Some would say this guy's the most underrated Joe Shane draft pick, but he was hurt this year, so you kind of forget him out a little bit. Micah Mcfadden.
Yeah.
Will be in his age 26 season. Now, he suffered a Liz Frank injury during the Week 1 loss to the Washington Commanders on September 7th. Did require surgery. He was placed on IR, and he did initiate his return by practicing in early of December of 2025. So the recovery is progressing. He was part of that 2022 draft class, so of course he is going to be a free agent. I can see $4 to $5 million per year. I mean, even a guy like Chris Board gets, $3 to $4 million per year with the Giants. I think the fact that he was even returning back to practice in December of 2025 bodes well for him. But I could see somewhere between $4 to $5 million for Micah Mcfadden. And is he a must bring back considering the depth at interior linebacker if Okereke is being cut?
Well, I can't call him a must bring back because either way, it's not like he's under contract and they'd also be cutting him. So even with cutting Bobby Okereke, there's still a need to add multiple interior linebackers. It's just a matter of, are we re-adding him back to the shuffle? I like McFadden. Liz Frank's a scary injury to come back from. Like you pointed out, he reopened the practice window, and I'm sure he's progressing. I can't call him a must bring back because if you find somebody else that's singing another tune that we're kind of unaware of, like, look what happened with the Rams and Landman. Those kind of guys, I'm not saying they're easy to come by, but how do I know that another guy like that isn't out there that we kind of haven't paid as much attention to that could fill this Micah Mcfadden role? Yeah. So I'm not saying I wouldn't want him back. I'm not saying I wouldn't be thrilled to see him continue his career with the Giants, but I can't call him a must bring back by any means.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have Micah Mcfadden for $4 million than adding another special teams only player like a Chris Board or Demetrius Flanagan Fowles, who's going to be a free agent, who I do not want back. If Micah McFadden's going to cost you $4 to $4.5 million for 1 or 2 years, and he can also play linebacker for you, bring him back because
great tackler.
They are going to need, Shaun, at least 3, right? At least 3 interior linebackers that actually can play linebacker.
Yeah,
and then you're going to need like 2 more.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. But again, you're not asking me to make a decision on cutting him. Regardless, you need that. This is about a guy bringing in. And this goes back to the old, what does John Harbaugh think of Joe Shane's draft picks? And is he trying to – there's also an element here when talking about Belton and Bellinger and McFadden, when you get to like this kind of back end of the roster stuff, does John Harbaugh look to maybe prove more of a point to Joe Shane that this is his ship, so he's not just re-signing his guys back? And I wonder
this staff has zero ties to him.
So. Zero ties. Absolutely. But a guy who I think is going to still be a productive NFL tackler from the linebacker position.
All right, rest of these guys we'll just do a quick yes or no on.
Okay.
Nacho.
Yes.
No, I am a no on Nacho. Isaiah Hodgins.
No.
I'm a yes.
You know what? Let me give you a caveat. I'm a yes if you don't bring back Wan'Dale Robinson and he becomes like the big slot on the team.
Yeah, 36% of his snaps came from the slot in 2025. The only thing with Isaiah Hodgins is he had 10 catches, 19 targets, 115 yards, 1 touchdown in 7 games appeared. 7 of those receptions and 99 of those yards came in the first 2 games with Jameis Winston at quarterback against the Packers and the Lions.
Yeah.
He didn't have more than 1 catch in a game after that, and the most amount of yards that he had in a game was 8 against the Raiders.
Yeah. Disappeared with Jackson Dart.
And he played. He played. Yeah. It's not like he wasn't playing. So he really did play. So, but I think it's worth it just for depth. A 1 year, he's going to demand like a 1 year, $1 million contract.
Do the numbers game. They're adding another wide receiver. If they keep Wan'Dale, they have Neighbors. They're not cutting Slayton, we don't think. Now you're talking about the 5th wide receiver on the team. That's why I say if Wan'Dale's not back and you're telling me, you know what, he becomes like the big slot receiver on the team, that's when I'm more okay with it.
Our friend Russell Wilson?
No, come on.
Tradition, you got to bring back Casey Kreider.
Yeah, why not?
Gunner?
I'm interested in Gunner again, yeah.
I'm interested in him too. Chris Manhertz?
No.
I'm a yes.
Not going to cost you anything.
I'm a yes. Austin Schlottman?
Yeah, I thought he was a good backup center. Now, again, if they sign Linderbaum and Schmitz is here, JMS is here, then no. Right.
I'm a yes too.
Filled in admirably every time JMS got hurt this year.
Josh Azudu.
Who is Josh Azudu? So no.
No. DJ Davidson.
I'm tired of DJ Davidson. I just am.
I actually think he's gotten a little bit better, but I'm a no.
He has, but like again, that is such a replaceable piece.
Yeah.
Such an easy part to turn over.
Bryce Ford Wheaton.
Poor Bryce Ford Wheaton and his injuries. No. He's done.
Yes, I'm bringing him back. Good special teamer. Good piece.
Good special teamer. He's already back.
He won us a football game.
2 years lost to injury. First of all, Isaiah Simmons won us that football game. Let's be real.
He blocked it. Did he?
Simmons blocked it. Ford Wheaton picked it up.
Oh, okay. But Bryce Ford Wheaton has also made like special teams plays.
Yes.
Art Green.
Sure, corner depth. Give me Art Green back as my 4th corner.
I'll rip off these 4. Nick Jones, Timon Fox, Victor Dimukeji, and Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles.
I'm going no on all of them. Oh, wow. I guess I can make a case for Fowles because
no. Ugh, awful.
Decent on specials. But yes, every time he was on the field, he would make one great play and 5 terrible plays on linebacker. But I'm also hoping that if I sign him, he's not playing linebacker.
I'm all for Nick. Well, that's the thing with these interior linebackers.
Nick Jones, what a training camp story that was.
Yes, the summer of Nick Jones. Is there anybody else that I'm forgetting? Oh, Casey Rogers. You know, Casey Rogers is a friend of mine.
Is he really? He was in the Bills camp last year. He was big on Hard Knocks, I remember.
Yeah, and then he came back towards the latter part of the year. We connect over our love for the University of Nebraska because guess what? He played there.
Nebraska.
Ryan Miller. No, wide receiver.
Yeah, I forgot they had Ryan Miller.
Zaire Barnes made some plays at interior linebacker.
He did, actually. Not anti-Zaire Barnes.
Caleb Murphy, edge rusher. I remember you.
Gosh.
Aaron Stinney.
Stinney's fine. Again, their offensive line depth I liked, so I'm fine with bringing all those guys back. Schlotman and Stinney. Like, I'm okay bringing that back. But again, if Greg Van Roten's there as depth, then you don't really need a Stinney. So...
Neville Hewitt is who Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles wishes that he was.
Yeah, look, I'd rather Neville Hewitt than Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. So
who is the last name that I'm forgetting?
Is it an obvious one?
It's an obvious one.
An obvious one. Hold on. I'm just trying to rip through positions in my head. It's an offensive player.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not a running back, is it?
No.
No, an obvious one. Damn it. Now I feel pressure.
Yeah, Come on.
Come on.
Screaming. People are almost screaming as loud as your Control F dilemma.
Damn it. Just give it to me.
It's Evan Neal.
Oh, I tried to block that part of my life out.
Yeah. Bringing him back?
No.
What's going to happen to him?
He's going to go be a good player for the Eagles.
Yeah?
No, I don't think
go to the Chargers. They're going to convert the guard.
And I'm going to set a little spoiler alert. If Evan Neal is a successful guard for the Chargers or whatever team, I don't care, nor am I making that an indictment about how badly run the New York Giants were. That's how detached I am from Evan Neal. Go let him figure it out elsewhere. He didn't figure it out here. He had plenty of time, and he told us to go flip burgers.
He did. All right. Thanks for listening. Combines this week. So I may try and get somebody on here who's maybe at the combine, whether that be this week or next week when we get closer to free agency and reporters will know more about what we're going to do. So I'll see you maybe in the back end of the week for something. But there's Shaun Morash. There's Justin Pennick. Shaun and I, we will see you next Tuesday when we talk about our free agency preview and who the Giants may target and who we want them to get. Let's go, Giants.
It starts today. Let's go, Giants! We bleed blue!